Hello everyone and welcome to the complete full tutorial on how to install Cloudstack on Ubuntu Server 22.04. So the first thing that you're going to want to do is to SSH into your server. Okay, once you're in here, the first thing that you might want to do is to install your basic packages. Now, my system already has this, so I don't really need to do it. And then the next step is to install bridge utilities. Again, my system already installed this, so I don't really need to do it. Now we're going to configure the net plan for our system. So on basic Ubuntu server installations, there's going to be a network configuration file managed by netplan. You can list it right here on etc/netplan. Now this file is generated automatically and then applied by the system. So if we want to change our network configuration, we can edit this file right here, but you need to apply extra configurations to be able to apply the configuration upon reboot, or make the configuration persist upon reboot. So if we just check the file, so you can see any changes made to this file will not persist across an instance reboot. So we really don't need to change any of these. We're just gonna create another configuration file. Now, the configuration file is applied based on the numbers on the file name. So whichever numbers comes first, that configuration will be applied first. So what we can do is just make another configuration file with the name of o1netconfig.yaml, and you guys can go ahead and copy the template on the GitHub link below. Now the thing that you might want to change in the template is the IP. So in my network, my IP is 10.10.96.201, the subnet of 24, network mask of 24. You can check your IP address using right here. Is shown right here. My IP was assigned statically. Yours might be assigned dynamically, and doesn't matter. Just follow what IP you get here, or you might want to change the IP. That's up to you, as long as it's in the same subnet. Then we're going to set up our default gateway, which for most people is the first IP in the network, like so. Oh, and you also need to adjust the indentations right here. And for the DNS address, you can go ahead and use your internal DNS server if you have one. I don't have one, so I'm just going to use an external DNS server. I'm using Google's and Cloudflare right here. So that's all the configuration that we're going to do in our NetPlan config. Now you guys can go ahead and generate your NetPlan. Then we can go ahead and apply the NetPlan. And we can reboot this. Now let's wait for the server to go back to life. Go. Seems that our configuration has been applied. Now let's go back to our machine. Now if you look at our interfaces, there should be a new one called CloudBridge. There you go. And your original Ethernet interface will not get an IP, but instead it will be bridged to the CloudBridge, like so. Now, next thing that we're going to do is to add a repository setup. Now, the commands will be in the GitHub link below. You guys can just copy it. And we can continue installation. The next package that we're going to install is the Cloudstack usage package. So we'll install that. Okay, nice. So the next thing that we're going to do is to configure our MySQL configuration. The file location will be in our GitHub link, but I haven't updated it, but it should be updated once the video is out. So this is the configuration file. Need to update it itself. And we're going to look for server ID. Oh, it's not here. I'm just going to add it right down here. Going to copy this and paste it right here, like so. Yep. I'm going to write and quit. Then I'm going to restart the MySQL service. Oh, seems that there's something wrong with our configuration. A mistake. There's an I here, but it shouldn't be there. Okay, there you go. Now let's see if it's running well. Okay. System cuddle status SQL. As you can see, it's running. Now, next thing that we're going to do is to set up a database for Cloudstack. So the command will be in our GitHub link. And the thing that you want to edit is the interface. Now this, you can fill this up with the IP that you get in your CloudBridge interface. And then the root password of the MySQL server, which I haven't set up, so I don't have to put a password here. There you go. Okay, now the next thing that we're going to do is to set up our storage. First, we're going to install our NFS server packages. Once that's done, we're going to do our directory export and configuration. Just copy the commands in our GitHub link. And then we're going to configure our NFS server and then restart it. There you go. Now, next thing that we're going to do is to set up our host. Now, for our setup, our host is going to be the same node as our management server. So we're just going to continue on with the installation right here. But if you are installing the host on another node, you might want to set up your repository again, like right here. Once you've done that, you can continue with the installation. We're going to install the required packages, which is the QEMU, KVM, and Cloudstack agent. Okay, once that's done, we can continue with our configuration. The first thing that we're going to do is set VNC to listen to any interfaces. Now, we can just copy the command here. Okay, once that's done, we can go ahead and activate listen mode in libvirt. Done. Okay. Now, if you're running modern versions of Ubuntu, this is required. So we need to configure libvirt to connect with the libvirt daemon. The configuration file is as follows. I'm just going to add remote mode to legacy. Click that. There you go. Okay, next we need to configure the default libvirt daemon. There you go. And then finally, we're going to restart the daemon. Okay, once that's done, you can apply additional configurations like so if you're using, if the KVM host is also using Docker, but uh, our node doesn't use Docker, so we don't really need to do that. And also set unique host UUID. If you're using a VM that's provided from a cloud provider, you might need to set this up. But I'm doing this bare metal, so I don't have to do that. Okay, next thing that we want to do is to configure the firewall. Now, on modern Ubuntu versions, we have the uncomplicated firewall installed, so we're just going to use that instead of IP tables. Once that's done, we're going to activate non-activate the app armor for libvirt daemon. All right, that should be it. Now, last step would be to start your management server. Now, the dashboard should be located with your IP, port 8080. It might take a while, so just wait for a moment. Now, the default account is admin with the password of password. Go ahead and log in. There you go. Now we are in. So now we can just do advanced configuration. Okay, the first thing that you might want to do upon boot up is to change your password. And then we're going to add a zone. So or we can just do it later if you want. If you want to do it later, the option to add a zone will be in the options on the left, and it should be on infrastructure and zones right here. And then you can add a zone right here. Okay, now let's create a zone. The zone type will be advanced. Now the zone details for the name will be of any name. Let's just make it zone A. And then this is the IP of the DNS address that you want to use. You can use your internal DNS server. I'm just going to use an external one by Cloudflare. Then another one by Google. Now, as a default setup, your internal DNS server might be hosted by your router, like so. Now set the hypervisor to be KVM because we installed KVM on the host in our previous configuration. The guest CIDR, we're just going to leave it as so. Let's go next. Now for the network configuration, we're going to use the VLAN isolation method. We're just going to leave blank for the VLAN tags because we're not using them. But if you want to separate each traffic, you might want to use tags. Okay, for the public traffic, the gateway will be our system gateway, or the same gateway as our server node, which is 10.10.96.1. That mask will be /24. Now the VLAN, just leave this blank. The start IP will be 10.96.202, and then the other one will be 10.96.220. Yeah. Add it, and let's go with next. Okay, next we're gonna configure our pod. And the pod A. And we're gonna use the same gateway as our system. Also the same net mask. And then I'm gonna reserve some IPs for the pod. So we're gonna go with 96.21 to 96.30. Oh wait, 221. 230. Now for the guest traffic, we're gonna use VLAN 700 till 900. Now the cluster name, let's just name it cluster A. Now for the host, we're going to set up our management server itself as the host. So the host name will be root. Wait, no, the host name will be the IP of our management server. 2.1. And then the username will be root. The password is your root password. Come next. Then we're going to set up our primary storage. Primary A. The scope is zone. The protocol will be NFS. The server is our management server itself because we're hosting it all in the same node. If you are hosting the NFS server in a different node, you might want to input the IP of the NFS server. And the path will be on primary. Export primary. Survival will be the default one. Next, the secondary one will be also NFS. It's located in the same server. Like so. And let's launch the zone. Okay, now once the zone creation is complete, we can enable our zone. Once you've enabled the zone, there should be all of these stats uh, on your dashboard, which include the pods, the host, the primary storage, and the cluster.
Okay, now that we have successfully launched the zone, as we can also see here, we could proceed to create an instance of the virtual machine. But before that, we need to download the ISO first. So now we go here and click the register ISO button, and then paste our download URL. I'm using this one, and then we input the name, and description is optional, but just put whatever. Then we choose the zone, and don't forget to input the OS type. Since this is the ISO for Ubuntu 22.04, we should search for 22.04 also here. Alright, and then we click OK, and it will start downloading. We can see the progress here. As you can see, it's still 0%, but just press the refresh button to see the progress. We will skip this part until it's done. Alright, now this should be done. And as you can see, it is successfully installed. Okay, next, to deploy our virtual machine, first of all, we're gonna use Cloudmonkey here, and Cloudmonkey is a command line tool for CLI tool for interacting with Apache Cloudstack. It helps us to send commands directly to Cloudstack without needing to click through the web UI. To do that, we are gonna install the Cloudmonkey first. See if it's installed. Okay. Okay, yeah. After installing, now we should go to the dashboard and see the account first. Just do what is being done on the screen. Go here and a few users. Go to the admin, and here we want to generate the keys needed for the Cloudmonkey. Now it is made. Now we have the API key and secret key. Alright, so after generating the keys, we are gonna put them to the Cloudmonkey so that it could authenticate our actions as the admin of the Cloudstack. First of all, we would use this command and just copy the API key. And then do the same for the secret key. After that, we should set the URL. Don't forget to use your own management server's IP over here. All right, and now we should synchronize the Cloudmonkey. Right now, we could see our list of users here in the Cloudmonkey. And then there's the API key and the keys already initialized. Okay, now we need to do some querying first before creating the instance. First is service offerings. Oh, sorry. And then next one is zones. And we also need the list of templates. Oops. Right now, we could deploy our VM using this long command, right? Virtual machine. And we need to pass some arguments here. That is why we queried the informations above. First off is service offering ID. That is, we could just copy up here the service offerings ID. Here, we copy them and pass as arguments. Next variable, next parameter is template ID. That is here. And next up is zone ID. Which was, where was it again? This is templates. This is surface offerings. Oh, we haven't queried it yet. Right. That was my bad. All right, now deploy virtual machine. Surface offering ID is Which one is it? Let's just copy it again. Oh, we did. Ah, now that makes sense. The service offering ID is this, and template ID is this, and last is zone ID, which was this one. And then there's two more parameters. First one is start VM. We're gonna set it to false for now, and also default NIC. We're gonna set it to false as well. After we deploy it, it will give us the information, and now we should see our instance. Where was it again? Here. As you can see, the instance is already created here. With the same name as the one we received in the CLI. Right, now to start the virtual machine, we could just use this command. Start virtual machine. ID is where is it? Here is the ID, and paste. And it is already starting, so we just need to wait until the virtual machine is started. Okay, it should be done by now. And after we refresh, the VM is running, ladies and gentlemen. Alright, so what we're gonna do here is to expose our public IP address so that it can be discovered by those inside the same network. First thing is to open this public IP address and pick the IP, and then we'll input some entries into this firewall so that the connection, the packets would be allowed to go into uh, this IP. Here we're gonna do this to TCP, UDP, and ICMP. So we're gonna allow all. And then we are going to need to also use NAT static IP. Pick our VM and then just click OK. It has been assigned to our VM. And then for the uh, web server setup here, we're gonna use WordPress, and all of this tutorial is going to follow all of the official Ubuntu WordPress tutorial. We're gonna update our system and install some dependencies here. And then, all right, and then we are going to make the directory here. Why is it not working? I think we had a mistake. So we used the wrong name here for the directory. We're gonna do the right one, and let's use chown. And then we are going to download a file from the uh, WordPress website. We're going to wait until it's done, and after it is done, I'm gonna put this here so we can see the tutorial. Right, and then we are going to open the downloaded file and edit it. We are going to insert this into the file for the configuration and save. We are going to enable the site, enable the URL, and also disable the default it works site. Next, we are going to reload the service. All right, let's go to the next page. Here we are going to configure our database. We are going to use the MySQL. So let's go to the MySQL root. And we're going to create the database first. I'm going to name it WordPress, as the tutorial says. And we're going to create the user also. So I'm just gonna use the same user here. And we are going to need to replace the password here by our wallet password. But for the sake of simplicity, I'm just gonna use password as our password here. It is recommended to use stronger passwords. All right, and then we're going to grant this on the database to the user. so that the user now has the privilege to use all of this. Okay, now we are going to flush the privileges. And quit the SQL root, and then we are going to enable the service. All right, let's go to the next page. Here we are going to configure our WordPress to connect to the database. Just copy the commands here from the tutorial. So this is the sample configuration file, and then we're going to copy these three commands, but remember to not replacing the database name here and the username here from the commands. We are going to only replace the password. So my password was password, as you knew. Then we're going to open the configuration file again. Then we are going to scroll down by using arrow keys till we find these define auth key and so on. We are going to open the website below here and copy the content and paste it into our configuration file. Seems like replacing won't work, so I'm gonna delete all and paste it here. All right, now we save the configuration file. Let's go to the next page. That is in the uh, graphic UI interface, I think. We're gonna check the status of the WordPress. Service is not found. I'm gonna just try opening the IP from my browser here. Let's try opening it. Oops, I got it wrong again. This is 5 octet, so all right. Now that it is opened, we're going to set the title. I'm gonna just use test WordPress here, and the username. This is my assignment, so I'm gonna use group 1 as my username, and for password we are going to use some a little bit stronger passwords. Is it strong enough? And let's input our email. You could actually use an email here. Let's discourage search engines from discovering this, indexing the site. Let's install the WordPress, and it's a success. So we are going to log in to see how the site goes. And here we are. This is the development page for the WordPress. You could open by hovering into this and clicking the visit site. And here is the website of the WordPress.